It teaches them how to problem solve.
I want to be a robotics engineer when I grow up, and I feel like this will give me a good thing to put on my college application, and B, will give me a good jump start on programming and building robots.
It teaches them how to problem solve.
I want to be a robotics engineer when I grow up, and I feel like this will give
Hello, everyone at the table. Welcome to Ladies of the Round Table, episode 70. What's that mean? 70 for those of you who just can't read it up there. This episode is, do you believe in hype? Why? Because Danya's here. I think she's over there. You know, this game we play every week. Everybody wave. Say howdy. Everybody in chat, say hello to Danya. All right, so if you have been living under a rock and you don't know who the hell we are the ladies of the round table. And my co-host, partners in crime, Pixie, I think she's over there. Hi. Tiff, I think she's up there.
Hey, I'm in the center today.
Oh,
I'm in the center.
Okay, this way. And then Holly, I think you're left.
Hey guys, thanks for coming out tonight. So stoked you guys are here.
The other left. So Holly is so excited she got a new mic. I know you guys have been talking about Holly's mic issues with the noise, we'll call it, because some of you describe it as various things. Hopefully this evening you won't be hearing that. If you do, don't panic. We're working on a fix, okay? Maybe next week it may be a little bit better. So cut us some slack. We are a nonprofit charity. If you feel like sending Holly a new computer, she would gladly accept it on behalf of the rest of us so that you don't have to hear the noise.
Tiff needs a new computer.
I love you guys so much. It's a $200 mic, so I better sound like the most gorgeous thing you've ever heard in your entire life tonight. So just throwing that out there, and thank you, Yeti, for being awesome. I love you.
I think you sound great.
Don't say that quite yet. Yeti.
Don't talk about Yeti, because
Yeah.
like me and my Rhodes microphone are gonna have some.
I was gonna say there might be some fighting words going on.
I'm just happy that my laptop decided to work. If
Thank
you
you,
follow me on
laptop
Twitter,
gods.
you can see how angry I was about 2 hours ago trying to set everything up today. But I'm here. Yay.
Yeah, so tech gods, we thank you for another well-opened show. We're a little tardy, but not completely late. So, all right. So moving on to our guest. Hello, Danya. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you very much.
Danya just woke up from a nap, guys, because you know what? She's coming to us from across the pond. So it is what time for you?
It's coming up to 3 a.m.
3 a.m.
Oh my goodness.
That's hardcore, guys. So in honor of Danya being here, we have a hashtag for chat this evening. What is that hashtag, Tiff?
Hashtag hype. That's right. Type in hashtag hype. And I hope you guys do it in capital letters because capital letters are my favorite. And here you go in the chat. Hashtag HYPE hype. If you have any questions, comments for our guests or for any of us, for any of our topics, hashtag hype.
And you can also tweet us live during the show for questions, concerns, comments. We may or may not answer you if you tell us to like eat the ghost pepper. We're not gonna go there. However, guests, invites, anybody you want to see on the show, tag them, send them our way. So let's get the show started off with a bang, and let's talk about Danya's pedigree. You know, Danya's been around for a while. We're not calling you old or anything. We're just saying you got some credentials going on. Self-professed caffeine addict. I love you. We're sisters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Coffee is the food group over here. And you are the copy editor for Hypeable web show, podcast, website. There's a little bit of everything. So I'm going to let you talk about that and fill in the chat. So those people who have no clue who we're talking to.
Yeah, so I host and co-host on a couple of different podcasts for Hypeable just to start. So my main one is called Hero Hype, which I'm a main host on, where we basically talk about superhero adaptations from obviously comic books into TV shows and movies, but we come at it from like a feminist angle and from a diversity angle, and we kind of talk about the news and what's going on, but we also bring the episodes when they're on the air. And I also use that show as a way to help people who have no idea how to get into comics. So you can listen to that if you are interested in it. But I'm also on another podcast called Rewatchable, where we go back and listen to cult shows and kind of break down, split between super fans and newbies. And we've done like Firefly, and we've done Freaks and Geeks, and we've done Legend of Korra, and we've done Avatar. So it kind of goes across the board. And I'm also on a guest host on Not Another Teen Wolf podcast, which is kind of self-explanatory. But other than that, I pretty much edit on Hypeable for every day. And I also write for Downton Abbey, some Star Trek stuff, a little bit of Marvel stuff dipped in and out. And I'm going to be covering Lucifer when that starts up next year.
So you really like words.
Yeah.
You're a wordsmith, as they say.
Yeah.
Wow. You'd be really good at a spelling bee then, right? You think?
Oh, God, no.
That's what spelling.
So we are going to roll into some questions from each of us. And you guys in chat, don't forget, if you want to ask questions to the host or us as hostesses, don't forget the hashtag hype. Case sensitive now. Come on, throw it up there. Caps lock us. Scream it.
Don't forget, guys, caps lock is cruise control for cool, but you still have to steer.
So, first question. Let's go with Holly.
Okay, so first off, I need to say before I ask a question that I'm literally obsessed with your accent. Like, it's honestly the most beautiful thing in the world. Like, I will be watching this back and I have no shame, zero shame. So, and also just thank you so much for being here, especially with the time that it is. Like, amazing. Okay. We're so happy to have you. So this question, you probably heard it like a trillion, zillion, cajillion times, but I totally had to ask it. So it might be a little hard to answer, so that's okay. But what is your favorite comic book character and why?
Actually, not a difficult question for me to answer at all. I have a definite favorite, and it's Hawkeye. And I guess the reason why he's my favorite is because he's completely normal. He's just an ordinary guy who messes up and makes mistakes, and he's trying his best alongside people who have extraordinary powers to just help people. And he messes up all the time. He's terrible at navigating his own relationships and his own life, but the way that he just keeps trying his best, that's what really makes me about him. I just love him so much. But I also love the female Hawkeye as well.
I love that. That is such a great answer. And something to kind of play off of that question that I just came up with in my mind. Kind of impressive because I'm a little slower today. But so when it comes to comic books, I am like a complete noob. Like, wow, noob. So if you had to recommend a comic for me to start with as someone that's kind of new to reading comics, what would be your recommendation for me? Because I want to get into it, but I just don't know where to start, and it's a little overwhelming.
This is kind of what I do with Hero Hype, is basically it's so difficult sometimes to just do just any comic, but I usually ask people like what characters they've been interested in. So is there a particular character that you like from like movies that you've seen or anything?
Yeah, I really like Superman a lot. I know,
Wow, okay.
Who knew?
but I really do.
There is actually a collected trade of Superman that covers his origins and a couple of like essential stories. So I think it's like just something like Superman Classic Volume 1, I think it was, is the one that I was looking at. But there is a Superman story that if you know like the basic entry level like Superman stuff, there is this fascinating story called Red Sun that basically does a huge what if storyline of Superman, as in what happens if he landed in the Soviet Union instead of America. And it kind of follows off on a completely different path and does this huge what if story. And it's like my favorite Superman story that they've ever done because it's so good. So good.
That sounds freaking awesome. Well, that's great.
For the Red Sun Superman, they even put him in the Injustice video game that came out. Red Sun was actually, I believe he was a pre-order bonus. So you did get to at least see him. If you weren't familiar with him, it was neat because he kind of got introduced that way too in video games. So it's pretty neat.
Guys, I see some chat questions coming up from our MVP, Utterly Random Guy, in the chat. Welcome back, Utter. We salute you, sir, and you're holding on to that belt real tight, man, real tight. It's coming up, right?
I have decided he's not the MVP. He's the MVB, the most valuable bro. I'm looking out.
All right, I'll give it to them.
So we'll go ahead and roll into this one, and this chat question, and it's, what's your favorite comic book villain and why?
Oh, that's such a good question. That one's actually harder to answer. Oh,
could it be Deadpool? Maybe.
I don't know, because he's kind of anti-hero. He's anti-hero.
I would say he's so much of a villain. Yeah, he's more anti-hero, but he's not super villainous.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's so many to choose from.
There are.
I can only think of one.
I always quite enjoy Doctor Doom. He's always quite fun to have around.
He's my favorite.
Yeah, he's pretty great. Because he's a little bit, he kind of borderlines on being utterly terrifying and almost caricaturish, and sometimes you don't know when to take him seriously or not, and it's just really, really interesting to like see him when he pops up in stories. I really liked him in Children's Crusade, actually, the Young Avengers storyline. So that one, yeah, I think Doctor Doom.
He has a really interesting costume too. I think that's what draws me to him the most too, because he's like metallic-y, but then he has like his cloak and stuff, and it's like the two opposite worlds, because you have something really harsh and then you have something kind of softer, and it's like, oh, I really love his design too. So that's what I'm really being into, the visuals of each character. So if I see a character that I visually attach to, I'm like, I need to know more about this character. Dr. Doom is definitely one of them for me. So I'm right there with you on that one, and he's great.
Yeah, I love Dr. Doom. I tend to prefer like the really dumb villains though, like Space Pot Pete.
Yeah.
Like, he just goes around and like glisten and stuff. Like, come on. It's the best villain ever. Like, I don't know why. It's just hilarious. So one of the things that I really love about comics is there was a group of TV shows, and they discussed why comics and superheroes in particular were needed at certain points in time and how they influence people in their everyday life. And so my question to you is, do you feel like they have? And if so, how?
I would definitely say yes. I've been reading comics since I was about 6 years old, and I don't know. The thing with comic books is that it always gave me a really interesting way to like meet people and talk to people and share like interests and make friends. But then even as I got older, it always gave me a conversation point and a point of interest to go and learn things. So whenever I would get maybe frustrated with something, I would join, talk to people about like, if I didn't like a particular portrayal, I would go and find other people and have dialogue about it. And it kind of just made me more confident as a person. And also, it's just such an educational experience, just from the standpoint of when you start experiencing anything as a medium and you are really interested in it, going out and learning more about it, whether that something is based off something maybe you've come across that's a little problematic and you want to learn why it is, then it's just an education, I think, and it's something that I found shaped me as a person, being a more open person as well. So yeah, it's definitely influenced quite a lot growing up. I don't think I'd be the person nearly as open-minded and outspoken about gender equality and just in general if I hadn't had comic books growing up.
Awesome.
That's incredible, awesome. Actually. That makes me wish that I read comics growing up. Like, wow. Yeah. I'm very behind, but I will get ahead. Danya, you are inspiring me. You are. I'll get there.
I'm glad.
I remember as a kid when I was reading comics, I didn't have so much of an interest in like, you know, the classic ones that were out like 20 years ago. So I had a lot of like the goofy ones like Ren and Stimpy and The Mask and like all those really goofy comics. But it's funny because I still go back and I'm like, the way I draw horses is because of the way it was drawn on the cover of like the Headless Horseman for, oh God, what was the issue of, I want to say like one of the Ren and Stimpy comic books. And like, for whatever reason, just the way I draw horses, it's kind of always the same way. Like I always see it in their face. So it's like the influence on those are really, really amazing because they can go so many different directions when you have that influence as a kid. And I wish I had gotten into some of the more popular ones now because there's so many different storylines. They're like, oh yeah, you know, from like back when this one was. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I read like the new ones.
You know what? It sounded like. Sorry, Pixie, you go.
I had a lot of trouble like interacting with people. For a really long time, I had like social anxieties. So like comic books for me were a way for me to learn things about other people and about myself. Because I learned that sometimes the right decision isn't always the good decision to make. Sometimes you have to go a little bit more into like the gray area. Sometimes honesty isn't always the best policy. That you always have to make a choice, and that your choices make up every situation that you're ever in and how you react to those. And so for me, it was a way for me to learn about not only myself, but about other people around me without actually interacting in a way. And so that allowed me to eventually break out of that shell and like speak to people and interact with them. And it was absolutely fantastic.
You know what's blowing my mind right now is I've heard you guys say 3 different characters that I know who they are from other things such as film or like being mentioned in shows that I had absolutely no clue was a comic.
There's a lot of that.
Don't say that too loud. They might take that geek card.
Like, that's why I always say I'm more of a nerd because I'm like so heavy gamer, and I really like, I'm very like gamer industry and like no comic at all, like zero, because I was too busy playing 10 hours a day of Counter-Strike.
You know what the cool thing is about
it's so cool
book readers and people that are in love with those types of things? and just our fandom in general is you're welcome to come on over to the dark side. No one
I'm
will
ready.
fault you for catching up or being,
Take me. I'm
you
ready.
know, it's all cool. We'll let you just go ahead and it's awesome to, like anything else in fandom, meet someone who has no clue and then watch it unfold as they figure it out, and then the conversations start going. That's one of the things that I think everybody loves about fandom and our community, is because you get to be with the people that understand you. Like you said, social anxiety, feeling ostracized, feeling like you're alone, and then you find this group of family, and it's amazing. And that sense of community and being and self-worth is such a warm and fuzzy thing to have. So it's all good. Pixie, I think you do have another question.
Yeah, so we have another chat question. And it's actually about television, but it does have to do with superheroes. So what do you think of the Supergirl TV show that is supposed to be being done? Do you think it will hold up to the hype? No pun.
Yes, hands down, because I've seen the pilot episode and it was phenomenal. Like, it was so good. If you've watched Arrow and if you've watched The Flash, it strikes a really interesting balance between the two, where it's got a slightly serious edge, but it has a lot of the fun of The Flash in it as well. The characters were all really, really well rounded within just that first episode, and it set up everything from normal, mundane kind of relationships in their everyday to, you know, people who've influenced them in their like their careers, and, you know, the kind of looming responsibility of having powers and wanting to be a hero but not wanting to be ostracized for like having powers and not doing more or causing damage. And it's that first episode, just the pilot episode, was so good and so interesting in how it set everything up. And I think they have a really interesting show on their hands, and I definitely think it's going to hold up. It's definitely going to hold its own against Arrow and the Flash in that kind of universe. So
I'm excited if it's going to hold up against those other shows. And believe me when I say we have a geek household, everyone's watching those shows in this house, but I myself personally cannot get into the Flash. I just can't do it. I just haven't been able to. Arrow was a little rocky, and now the spinoff is going to be coming out, so I reserve the judgment to change my mind. But I'm excited. I'm excited about that.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Would you guys consider like Heroes comic-y? Because they're like playing, like, I know it's not, I don't think it's a comic or ever was a comic, but like I watch Heroes with my mom and it's coming out again and we're super excited. And to me, it felt superhero-y because they have these powers, even though they were like given them and implanted them in their brain. And I don't know, it's kind of, it feels like it's on that line. Does it just feel like that to me because I don't know what I'm doing?
It's superhero-y, but you have to remember, like, The Walking Dead is a comic book. Watchmen, the movie with Mr. Manhattan, graphic
Oh my!
novel. Like,
I don't even know what world I'm living in.
What world are you living?
My whole life has been a lie. The cake is a lie.
Of course, the cake is a lie. It's all about the pie.
Yeah, you're right. Like they.
I'm just gonna face palm over here.
Another chat question.
So we have two other chat questions. I'm gonna read Utterly's first because I feel like it's a little bit more relevant for this exact moment. But of course, Utterly, he got another question for us. He goes, do you think it's possible that Supergirl might make an appearance in the movies in the near future? I mean, we'd have, of course, Batman versus Superman coming out, and Batman's gonna be coming in for 3 more movies. Mr. Affleck already signed some contracts. I'm kind of really excited about him. But we also have, Wonder Woman's going to be in the Batman versus Superman. So we're starting to get some more of these side characters that are in these big universes coming in. Do you think that Supergirl might make an appearance?
I think Wonder Woman is definitely going to be the sort of litmus test for whether or not they'll want to bring other solo female heroes in. she is the first one to be getting her solo movie. So I don't think necessarily we'll see her straight away, which is a shame because I think she's a very interesting character, especially playing against Superman. It's definitely, if she does come into it, it's definitely not going to be the TV Supergirl because DC have already said completely separate universes. TV and movies are going to work completely differently, and they're already recasting for the Flash, or they've recast for the Flash already for the movie. So I think I would like to think that Supergirl would show up in the movies eventually, but I think it's all going to hinge on how much of success financially Wonder Woman is. And so that's why I'm urging people that, go and see Wonder Woman when it comes out.
I'm so excited for that. I really can't wait for a Wonder Woman. It's going to be fantastic.
I think I'm so torn on Wonder Woman because I feel like Wonder Woman is like the most classic female badass in like all of history. And so I'm so torn because I don't know that you can hold up to like the absolute love that people have for her. I think it would be like making a Zelda movie. Like it's so hard with all of the nostalgia for people. So I'm like really concerned about it. And I feel like Supergirl would actually be a smarter, easier movie to make.
We don't want easy. We don't want easy. No, thank you.
I don't want them to ruin my nostalgia.
I agree, because remember, I have Linda Carter as my Wonder Woman, so there's going to be a problem for a lot of people if they mess this up. But let me ask the whole table. I just tweeted it out. What one female superhero would you like to see get her own feature movie, short of the other two we just mentioned? And for me, I think Storm would be really great to see.
Oh, yeah.
In a movie. Just saying. Not going to ask you who you want to play her because that's a whole nother total bombshell of a Twitterverse conversation. But let's start with Danya.
Oh, I mean, my obvious answer would be Black Widow. I think it's definitely overdue, and I think her history would lend really, really well to like a kind of a really interesting riff off the Winter Soldier theme in terms of like an espionage kind of storyline. But aside from that, I would like to post Captain Marvel a Miss Marvel movie with Kamala Khan. So the newest Miss Marvel. I think that would be amazing. I would love to see her come to the big screen.
That's interesting. Yeah, I haven't thought of that one. All right, let's go Tiff.
I'm a diehard for like Sailor Moon, so I would. I know she's not like American comics type thing, but it's still comics. But I would love
she's
to
still
see.
A superhero.
I know. It'd be I would love to see that just done super well. And I mean, I know I've seen, they have the live action and they do have the musical and stuff. But I think if they had just like a straight up movie that was awesome and like not like the Dragon Ball movie that came out that was so bad. If they could make like your Sailor Moon movie be absolutely amazing, I would. That would be my number one go-to. And then also, like you said, Storm. I would like to see just a Storm movie because she was always one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
When I had my shaved head, I wanted to do the Mohawk Storm cosplay so bad. I just never got around to it. My hair grew out, so let's switch it up.
All right. Pixie.
Miss America, Spider-Woman, Batgirl. Like,
oh yeah.
Hardcore Batgirl. Like, I know Harley's in Suicide Squad, but I want Harley to have her own movie. And because
she's throwing up gang signs over there, she wants Harley so bad.
Not technically a villain, sorta, kinda.
Kinda.
A little
sorta.
bonkers.
I mean, that would be interesting. That would be very interesting. I don't know if it would be a full length. I mean, I'm talking 2 hours. I still
watch her knock people around with a giant hammer. Like, who doesn't?
Right. All right, Holly, what do you think?
So I'm the comic book noob, so I actually have a couple cute answers. So My answer is Batgirl, and I've been called Batgirl for the last 4 years because I was actually bit by a bat and I had the full rabies vaccinations. So now I'm immune to rabies. So like ever since I got bit by a bat that we were pretty sure had rabies, my whole family and like people I work with, they're all like, they call me Batgirl. So I have like a bunch of Bat girl memorabilia from family and friends and stuff. So I'm automatically a Batgirl fan. And then kind of cool, the sorority that I am an alumni in, we all have names, like sorority names, and that's what we go by. We never use our real names. And a whole class was named after female superheroes. And there's a Storm, Rogue, Callisto. I would probably know them all if I knew it, but there's like 7 of them, or 8 or 9 of them, and they're all female superheroes. So kind of cool. So just a little side note.
And again, with the random things we learn on each episode, hashtag LORT Facts, Holly immune to rabies. That might be one of our questions at the end of the show for giveaways. You never know. Pay attention. You guys hearing me on the podcast later, and those of you who are going to be watching on YouTube, you never know. So I'm going to roll into, I'm just going to go from there. I don't even know how I pick it back up, but I'm going to go from there and ask Danya, how do you feel about the recent influx of conversation over social media about gender and fandom overall? And follow up to that is, do you actually participate in said conversations, or you try to wean yourself out of that and leave it to your, your editing on the website and try to put that stuff in over there?
I know I definitely talk about it a lot, especially on the podcast, because I find it's a lot easier sometimes than kind of sticking it to 140 characters on Twitter. That it's easier sometimes to get people to send their questions in, and then I kind of go over them and talk about them on air. But it's something that I'm always talking about, and I think it's something that we need to keep talking about. And she's taken a break from podcasting at the moment because basically some real life stuff happened, and so she needed to take a break, so I've got a different co-host for a bit. But my former co-host Marima had a really amazing line in an article she wrote recently where she said, if you don't see the point of representation, it's probably because you're already being represented. So it's definitely a conversation that needs to keep being had, because until people all get involved and start seeing the problems for what they are, the conversation isn't going to go away, and shouldn't go away, because the more people ignore it, stick their head in the sand and pretend that it's not something that needs to be talked about, the more we need to talk about it.
So with this past year, we've had hashtag GG for Gamergate going on, with a lot of people being attacked on social media, whether it's warranted, not warranted, perceived as warranted, and or true. We know there are some factual incidents out there, and everyone can go on the internet and take a look at it. Have you yourself ever experienced anything that toxic to the level of being DDoSed or having issues personally in your real life?
I haven't personally. It's something that I will always be terrified of, because if you are ever active in that kind of conversation, there are people who will do it because they just like the conversation you're having, and they'll do it to be essentially petty. It's completely petty and ridiculous and dangerous for some people. Like it's irresponsible, dangerous, and stupid, and I just don't condone that at all. Like, I don't mind the debates. I don't mind going back and forth and having to listen to other people's opinions on coming from a different angle than what I would take. I will always listen to people. But when you take it to that kind of place where you start revealing personal information about people, dumping it online. That's not cool. That's kind of taking the conversation away from the real issue and just I don't want to swear, but it's just people being stupid. It's so frustrating. No, it's just people being dicks, essentially. That's it. It's not even at that point. Then it's not about the issue at hand. It's just pettiness
And cruel.
and cruel. Definitely cruel. Like every time I see it, like I've got friends who work within the gaming industry who are very outspoken about being women in the gaming industry, and they're always terrified that the more they speak out, the more likely it is that their personal information is going to get online. And some of the stuff that they have to deal with day to day in like the studios, the environments that they have to put up with just being a female in that industry is disgusting. Half of it I can't even repeat because a lot of it there's still a non-disclosure agreement for, and it's just disgusting, like some of the stuff they have to put up with in their own workplace. And it's like, there was an amazing, even just animation in general, BuzzFeed put up a really awesome article today that was about women in animation and the Persistent Boys Club of Animation, and it was basically talking about the history. It is an amazing read. It's long, it's really long, but it's fascinating and interesting. And as someone who did traditional animation and wanted to go into that and ended up having to give up trying to get into the industry because I kept getting away for guys getting in my place, it's a real problem still. So, the more people talk out about that, the more terrifying it is that they're going to get turned on, essentially, just for having this conversation.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about these kind of topics very often, and it's one of those things where, speaking out makes you a target just because it's something that we're all still trying to make comfortable, for everyone. And I mean, relating back a little bit to like say like comic books and video games and stuff, the people creating these conversations are having these issues and they're going through them. One of the things that I kind of want to talk with you about is how changing the genders and ethnicities of classic characters. Do you see any feedback? Like, I'm not sure if maybe you did an article or a podcast about it, but they've made a black super or Spider-Man now, and they've made Spider-Gwen, and they've changed the gender of Thor. Now there's female Thor, and they keep doing all of these really interesting changes, which, is really great because they're starting to represent more people, and you're not just having this one old character that was just like the token black guy because he was there. They're changing the characters to reflect their audience, but I have noticed some people are really upset about that. They're like, why should you change these characters? Because just to make everyone feel happy. I'm like, dude, calm down. It's obviously not for you. Why are you so upset about this? But have you come across that with any reviews on any comics, or just even a topic that you guys have talked about with changing these characters up?
Yeah, I mean, it happens quite a lot. People who've been into comics for a long time will sometimes get very, very precious about the first incarnations of those characters. But one of the things that people don't seem to get through their heads is that most of these comics were created in a time where they never would have been able to put anyone of color into comics. They wouldn't have been able to put or wouldn't have wanted to put people of color or women or anyone into main leading roles and sell comic off them. And the fact that now we have the power to be able to change that, and we are seeing it, it's something that should continue to happen. But there are still a lot of people who get very precious about their characters, but then you kind of look at Thor, so the female Thor, and the interesting thing is that series of comic books outsold traditional Thor by a lot. Yeah. And kind of look at that and you go, well, if you weigh it up versus the classic character and the rebooted character, essentially, or the next incarnation of that character being a woman, you know, it's a thing that is so sorely needed, because why would it be outselling the original traditional character if it wasn't something that was desperately wanted or needed? And like you said, okay, maybe those storylines aren't going to be for everyone, those characters aren't going to be for everyone, but there is a very large portion of fans who have been into comics for a long time who have been waiting for those characters to even come to the page. So yeah, just because it's not for you doesn't mean it's not for everyone else.
I think I have an issue with it, and it's mostly because Thor is one of my favorite comic heroes in the history of all time. And it's not that I don't think that it's needed that we show more diversity in comics, but I think a better way to do it is by creating new and interesting IP. I don't think that rebooting things that have been rebooted over and over and over again with new incarnations of characters is the correct way to do it. I think that a better way to do it is to create better, more interesting characters with new solid IP.
I mean,
sorry. one of the things that I'll just say it real quick and then you can go. One of those things with creating a new IP is like, who wants to buy a Cup Man? I don't know, like a cooler like name than that, but like, we all know who Spider-Man is. Let's check out this kid Spider-Man now. That's, you know, different. That's different. And then I think it once you get that going, then, you know, that getting people interested in those kinds of comics and getting them be like, okay, hey, there's Black Kid Spider-Man, cool. What other characters are like this character that are coming out? Or maybe that's inspiring for somebody to create a more original character for that. Like, I think it's a stepping stone to get there. And I think we're working on that within the past, like just the past year alone with all the reincarnations I've seen. There's so many.
Yeah, and I mean, in regards to rebooting, I don't think it's rebooting in the traditional sense of that character from before no longer exists. It's more in the example with Thor just stepped down. He was no longer worthy of the hammer, and someone needed to take up again, and it just so happened that person was a female and just took over the mantle. And the same with Miles Morales taking over as Spider-Man. He initially, while Peter Parker was still alive, wasn't Spider-Man. He wasn't operating as a hero. He took up the mantle when there was no one left in that place, because he saw it as a responsibility that he had after the death of Peter Parker. So it's not necessarily that those characters no longer exist. It's more that they're living up to their responsibility and taking up the mantle and becoming the next incarnation of that hero. So they are kind of taking that name and then making it their own. So, and you know, it's not like there haven't been female-led original characters. I mean, just look at Unbeatable Squirrel Girl and stuff like that. Like, she is amazing, and yeah, she's that property is amazing. I absolutely love it.
I've been meaning to pick those up too. I see them all over. I'm like, oh, I need to get that.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Pixie, and I know I'm not like a huge comic book person, but when I see stuff like that, to me, it makes it even more apparent that there's an issue and we need to address it. Like, there isn't enough diversity, there isn't enough equality. So to me, that makes it even more stick out, which I guess could be a good thing, but in my opinion, it's a bad thing. Like, when as a gamer, like, I don't want something that makes me stick out as a girl gamer. I just want to be a gamer because that's what I feel like I am. So like, it kind of reminds me of that. Like, I don't know, like, I'm just like, oh, great. Now they're making, you know, a woman superhero that was a male superhero. Like, really? Like, I can't get my own character? Like, that's just kind of how it makes me feel. And I don't know if that's like a weird way to think about it, but that's, to me, it's just like, and obviously I'm whiter than my wall, actually, but I can just not imagine like being someone of a different ethnicity, and it's like, oh, now they're making Spider-Man black, like, to me, that's just like, why can't they get their, like, why can't it be its own thing?
Yeah, it's just it seems too easy. It seems like instead of actually wanting to have change, they're going the easy route, and they're changing only for appearance, not because they actually want to, and because they think that they can, and that it's a good thing. Because
you said that
they
perfectly.
can always change her back.
Right, that's how I feel. It's like, oh, well, okay, we just need it, so let's just throw her in for this one. Let's just throw that culture in over here. Something that already exists. Let's just throw it in. Like,
yeah, I feel like I'm on the opposite end of that. I feel like they're not just throwing it in anymore, because I mean, we are starting to get more panels and more female artists and more female writers, and I think they're starting to get represented a little bit better. And even if it is a male writer, we're seeing a lot more female artists, you know, the ones who are actually drawing the comics and stuff. I mean, perfect example is Babs Tar, who's doing Batgirl comics, and she's the whole reason why I got into Batgirl, because her drawing is friggin' amazing, and she's doing the artwork for it, you know. So it's one of those weird things. Is, I mean, it's, and then the Thor. I picked up the first Thor, and then I started reading Thors with an S, and there's like multiple Thors in the universe, and there's like, so I see what you guys are saying, but I'm just not on the same page on this one, I don't think.
I'm picking up what you're throwing down, and I'm going to say that I come from a totally different perspective also at the table. This is what we do at the round table. As a parent, I think it's awesome that we see so many different versions than maybe the classic, because then, again, as a parent, my daughter can see that the story can be your story. It doesn't have to be this adaptation that you've seen. You can use your imagination, and it will be accepted as something that is out there, and maybe people don't like it, do like it, but it can be put out there and you can create. So for me, I think it's awesome that we have all this creativity, because it inspires the kids to do more, right? Than just sit and look at everybody else. And if it is, as we say, Danya, as I said before, if it's not there and they don't see it, as I say on my hashtag all the time, if they don't see it, they can't be it, right? There's no example. So with that being said, take it away, Tiff.
So we just want to send out a reminder to everybody who is watching and who's watching this later on, what our vision is for LORT Live, and what we are about for Ladies of the Round Table. And this conversation is it, you know, having these conversations about opening up the eyes of other people and being accepting of those people. And what we really want to do is inspire confidence and awareness of all of these things. We also want to, you know, help put out everyone's studying like science and technology, art, engineering, math. We follow STEAM. That's what we go through, and we want to help change the ratio of women and other genders and other ethnicities into those universes. We like to do it in a nerdy kind of way. We get to talk about fun stuff like this too, but it's also on a serious side. Those are the things that we support, and we want to make sure that everyone is 100% aware of all that stuff. We just want to make sure the next generation, our kids, neighbors' kids, any kids in the area, everybody is super awesome, and keep being amazing. We like STEAM. STEAM. You can make it STEAM if you add art. I like to add the art into it, but technically it's STEM.
So to be PC, politically correct, for those of you who want to be there, you would be S for science, T for technology, E for engineering, +, A for art, add your M in there for mathematics. So there you go, STEAM. And we are all about the gender equality. There is no label. You be what you're going to be, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. We're moving on over, with that being said, to Holly's next topic.
I honestly, when I saw this, I knew I had to bring it to the table this week, especially with Danya here. It's literally, I feel like it's literally perfect, except for the story. The story is not perfect, but it's a good thing to talk about here at the table. So for those of you that may or may not follow Kotaku, This came out this week about this new thing that's taking over China called programming cheerleaders. So internet companies are embracing these cheerleaders, and they call them pretty and talented girls, yet they're hired to specifically create a fun work environment. So some of their tasks include buying the programmers breakfast, chit-chatting, playing ping pong. They say that most of their programmers are men and they stink at socializing. So they thought that, you know, having these cheerleaders around will help with that. And they're saying that reportedly productivity is up and the cheerleaders are helping with this.
Utter said, what? Exactly what
So honestly, this is like one of the most patronizing things I've come across in a really long time. For those of you that may not know me, or like know my beliefs, like I'm very like farther, like not on the feminist side. So when I come across something like this that makes me want to jump up and kill someone, it's pretty, like, to me, that's usually my like red flag of, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. I find this so offensive. And the fact that the article states that the women are talented, it doesn't seem like their talents are being put to use, right? They're not using their talents. It almost appears that companies have the women in the roles that they believe they should be in instead of the roles that they're gifted in. But something I do want to point out is that we need to remember that this is China. So in China, gender roles are very prevalent. So we need to not be thinking of this as America, which I know was kind of easy to do. But their women are seen as homemakers. Now, here's the thing. For those of you that know or don't know, I work, and I also work in the industry, but I'm like very traditional. Like I like taking care of the house, taking care of my husband, doing all of that. So again, like the fact that I see this as so messed up is like really, really, really scary. I also want to point out that in this, the girls they're all dressing a certain way. They have all of the girls in short skirts and like little outfits. I just find it so disappointing. Like it almost makes me want to cry. It's just so appalling. So I want to know what you guys think about this. Danya, let's start with you.
I mean, if you need prettily dressed women to inspire you to do your job, maybe you're not the best person for that job. Like, if you can't actually do that job without having someone literally being really cute and pretty behind you, essentially cheering you on to do it, then maybe it's time to look at a different career. Maybe that's not the career for you. I just can't get my head around them actually needing that in the first place, you know, regardless of, because obviously there's the cultural difference in how they look at their roles, but regardless of that, you know, I don't need a cheerleader to do my job. I'm pretty sure most of the people don't need a cheerleader to do their job either. So I don't know, I can't get my head around that.
I'm gonna say, going back a little bit on what Holly said, and again, everyone at the table has different views. Everyone's real life is their real life. I am the total polar opposite of Holly. I do not enjoy being domesticated and doing nothing for my husband, including his laundry. That doesn't happen in this house. I don't even do dishes because I'm too busy doing other things. Like playing my video games, or I don't know. I do enjoy the cooking, don't get me wrong, because I was a chef in another life, so I do have to make food. But no domestication for me. I mean, literally, I'm a city girl. He's a farm boy from Michigan. Polar opposites. Works for us, though, don't get me wrong. But no cleaning. I'm like, that's why you have kids. You make them clean it up.
Yeah.
So for me, the one thing that keeps coming to mind with this particular topic is self-esteem, maybe? I mean, if you really have to have someone back there cheering you on, and if I had a job where they said, new program, new rollout today, guess what we're getting? Personal cheerleaders. I don't know how I would react. And then if they came out dressed inappropriately, that too would be an issue. Although, I must say, and I know Pixie will agree with me, if it was a male cheerleader in a stripper costume, I don't know, might have a different opinion. But it hasn't happened in my life yet. I'm still looking.
I don't know about that because, like, all right, so I think that just having people that are pretty around you can be a total deterrent. So, I mean, I read the article and it said that they were increasing productivity.
Really?
I don't know how. Okay, so quick story time for Tiff. So it's not very often that I stop and my jaw drops when like a dude walks up. You know, I'm like, holy crap. Whoa.
She works at GameStop. Just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, so it doesn't happen very often where a very attractive man comes into the store and I can't speak. It has happened 2 times where I'm just like, you're so pretty. Here's your game. Like, here, take it. And I don't know how it feels to be a dude, obviously, with like working around cheerleaders. I feel like that would not be productive. I feel like you would go into La La Land and you would not think about it. Like, the only other thing I could think of is, you know, they're in China, so their mindset is different. The only thing I could think of is that, you know, they're trying to impress them by working harder. And that kind of makes sense because you want to impress the persons that are around you. But it's one of those weird things where, you know, it sucks that they're being employed for that. But it's also good because they're getting out of the house. You know, because they're not sitting there being homemakers. You know, they're making a life for themselves. It's just like what we do here. Some chicks work at Hooters. And that's what they do, you know, and they're good at it, you know, or sometimes they're not very good at it, but they find another one to replace them. It's you know, it's such a weird topic. I mean, it's very
degrading concept to us here in the States. We're like,
yeah. Like, and it's just one of those things that it's a different culture. You know, the women over there are so much more oppressed as it is, just in everything. There's a lot of things that happen. I mean, I'm not saying that they're, you know, leaps and bounds behind everybody else, but just different countries have different rules and different regulations and different cultural things. And I think China is definitely one of them. So having this particular thing happen, I can see why it's productive because their mindset would be, I need to impress them. Let me get my work going. I could see where it's good for these women. They're getting out of the house. They're not just sitting there being, you know, stuck in the house all day, cooking, cleaning, doing whatever. They're making a job for themselves and they're putting themselves out there for that. I would see if maybe this would be an issue if there were like sexual favors into it or something like that. I could see that being more of an issue, you know. But if they're just hanging out and talking, who doesn't want to have a job where you just like hang out and like, yeah, you're doing a good job, great, super awesome. Like, you guys want to go get some food? Let's go get some food. Let's just hang out because I'm pretty. Let's just do that. You want to go do this? You just gotta go. Just do like some more work. You're good, totally good. Like what kind of job is that? But hey, you know, it's such a flip side for me. I'm on both sides of that one.
You would be top notch at that job because the tone you just used, I felt all like I got to do some work.
Well, right? I guess I go work, do stuff. No, just let's hang out, dude. Come on. I'll talk to you. Just tell you to hang out. Let's come out. Let's go.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. Way to go, China. You officially created a job that is totally useless. But guess what? You're helping your economy. Congratulations. To every woman who takes that job, congratulations, because you are making the choice to do that. And that is what equality is about, in my opinion. It is about the ability to choose for yourself. I think sitting here and talking about how awkward it is and that it's great that they're getting out of the house is kind of negative, because the whole point of equality is that we get to choose what we want to do. So if they want to stay at home, I think judging them and saying, oh, they should get out and get a job is like a really negative thing. I'm just saying. And so, like, putting more on this amazing sandwich of my like thought machine. The thing is I don't think it's really that patronizing. I think that there are people in America who do jobs and work at places like Hooters and who work as exotic dancers, and they make a killing doing it, and some of them really enjoy it because they make really good money.
Yeah,
And
yeah, they do.
that's fine. I think that if you want to view this in such a negative light, you also have to view those other things in such a negative light. Otherwise, you're really being biased towards a culture that we're not involved in any way, shape, or form.
And I do find those things personally, I don't agree with those things. I don't like those things. I don't agree with those things. But I think the main thing that's upsetting is the whole cheerleader term, because in gaming, like, that's how I was always seen. Because I didn't play on girl teams, I played on guy teams. So they're like, oh, Set, she's just a cheerleader. That's her job. She's just there to cheer for the guys. That always pissed me off.
So of course, so in particular for this article, I would say that you have a personal opinion on this because you have a personal attachment to it. You know, so for me that makes sense. I mean, I'm not condoning you for feeling as strongly as you do. Everyone, of course, we all have our own opinions.
Well, you should read the comments. The comments, people are pissed about it, men and women. So there's a lot of comments on this.
Yeah, I don't read the comments on anything because it's the internet, and I don't do it. I've stopped.
And I don't do it.
I can't read comments anymore because I'm like, oh, this is really great, and you read like one awful one, you're like, well, that just ruined everything.
All right, guys, you guys in the chat, if you've got some comments and you want to throw them in, don't forget to use that hashtag hype. We will get you in there. The conversation's flowing steadily, but you know, it's not as much fun without you guys chiming in. So don't be shy. Throw them up in there. Hashtags for the win. Hashtag hype. I'm going to move on to the next topic. Mr. Producer Man, it'd be the Borderlands movie. Ian, I'm changing it. I am. So, oh my, I can't even put enough exclamation points on this topic. Borderlands is being made into a movie. Well, words. I can't. I'm so excited. And I'm also very terrified because it could go horribly wrong, as we've seen with certain things like Green Lantern, name of something, you know. So Lionsgate, Marvel Studios, gonna do the thing. First person shooter Borderlands. If you don't know what it is, you're watching the wrong show. Go ahead. Look it up. Google it real quick. Put the hashtag in. Put the Twitter thing in. @Borderlands. Figure it out. Other movies that have just recently come out that are hit and miss, maybe not doing so well. Hitman, Agent 47. Tiffany can talk about that a little later. I believe you did go to see that.
I didn't go see that.
No? I thought maybe you were putting it on your list.
Nope.
You gotta do us a review, right?
Nope.
No interest?
Good, but probably not.
It's got a whopping 9% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's pretty bad, guys, if you don't know anything about Rotten Tomatoes. I want to know what you guys at the table, how do you feel about our fandom being translated into that Hollywood movie magic scene as a crossover, and it's getting so prevalent nowadays. No matter how much we scream, no matter how much we yell about what we would like transcribed over, it seems to be that certain things are just being pulled out of a hat, and other things are behind the scenes, like this particular Borderlands movie with a studio push saying, we think our fans are ready for this. My body is ready for Borderlands. I'll take my money, throwing it. So let's go down here first.
I mean, I really enjoy adaptations. I think it's very, very interesting having come from a comic book background, like seeing how they take the original story and make it their own and make it cinematic, because not everything is going to work when you translate it from whether it's a novel, whether it's a game, whether it's a comic book, you know, whatever it is, translating it from its original medium to screen, some things will work, some things won't, and it's always very interesting to see how they translate it. So I'm always really interested in seeing adaptions make it to the screen. Some are successful, some aren't. It's the same with original movies as well. Some will be more successful than others, and I think as long as the people behind those kind of movies are passionate about it, it's creating more jobs, and people really, really want to see this made, then it's only ever going to be a good thing for me.
Well said.
So.
Well said. Who wants to go next?
I do.
All
Okay.
right.
So here's the thing. Some of my favorite movies are really, really bad, low rent movies. I'm not gonna lie, like the updated version of Reefer Madness, like I love it. I love it more than life. It's hilarious.
Like that Toxic Avenger, yo?
Yeah, like Cecil B. Demented, also amazing. So, like, if you want to make movies out of my video games and stuff, and you want to get that 9% on Rotten Tomatoes, like, I'm all good with it, because I'm either gonna love it or I'm gonna hate it. And if I love it, it can be another shitty D movie that, like, goes into my pile of crappy D movies that I watch by myself and eat cookies with. Like
I have a comment to that, Pixie. My rebuttal to that would be, why are you not live tweeting your B movie role? I mean, come on, that's a whole adventure all in itself just to go
That's
through.
what I'll do. I'll start watching my B movies and then tweeting quotes from the movies.
Yeah, because that's amazing. Let's go with Holly.
So I think that a lot of stuff in the movie industry is about money. So I think that when it comes to money, I think it's a good idea, because I think it's going to make, some amount of money. I think people are going to be like, hey, like, I love Borderlands. I played it once. I played through all of them. I played it for 10 minutes. I saw my sister play it. I totally want to see it. So I think that as like a movie maker, I'd be like, yeah, let's do this. I feel like everything that's good in the world for film has been remade and redone. And so I feel like it's almost like, okay, well, let's do this now. And let's start making movies of this stuff now. And I mean, so I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea. I think it's always scary. But there's always people that like them regardless, just like Pixie said. And, my favorite movie of all time is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the original with Gene Wilder. And, when the new one came out, like, of course I love the original more, but I could still appreciate the new one and the artistry in that and how they went more into like the original story and the Ronald Dahl. Like, so I can still appreciate it, but there's people that love it. So it just kind of like makes me feel like this is why we have chocolate and this is why we have vanilla. Some people are going to dig it. Some people aren't. When it comes to game movies too, I'm always like, dude, I'd rather play it than watch it. And if I've already played it, I'd rather play it again. So it's just kind of me.
All right.
So the Borderlands movie, is it going to be good or not? The Telltale Games little Into the Borderlands or Tales of the Borderlands has been pretty fun. This is a hard one for me because I know a lot of people that work on the Borderlands games, and Gearbox is right down the street. I know a lot of people that are there, work on stuff, and
sponsors, but that doesn't mean we're jaded and we can't talk the real talk on the table now.
Well, yeah, no, totally, but like, it's hard for me though because I've seen like their passion for Borderlands and I've seen the fans for Borderlands. When I was at PAX South, they Gearbox did their community day there, and they had to expand the ballroom 3 times to get all the fans in there because people just kept coming and they didn't want to have people not show up and not be in there, and they wanted to bring that out. I made a Borderlands mug the other day and they retweeted it for me, and I really feel for as much as they love the community, the way the Borderlands community is, I feel like they're going to do the movie right. Totally stealing this from Chris earlier today where he was like, they've already made a Borderlands movie. It's called Mad Max. I'm like, haha, that's really funny. And I was like, yeah, Mad Max was great. Like, don't even get me started. I'll talk forever on Mad Max. But that's what kind of Borderlands is. And the characters are really, really interesting. And the story's pretty interesting too. And there's some really great villains in Borderlands. I think they would transfer really well to screen. I have high hopes for the movie. I hope it's fantastic. I hope it does well. If it flops, it won't be the end of the Borderlands series. People are still going to be excited about playing the game. I mean, when you start switching games and comics and stuff into movies, I mean, mostly comic books and books have been switched into movies. More of those, obviously, than video games, because video games haven't been around as long. I mean, they're even looking at making, you know, The Last of Us a movie, but there's so much in The Last of Us that you couldn't fit into a movie because that game is hours long. It's like 5 to 6 hours of just cutscenes. And then as you're walking through the forest with Ellie, Ellie's talking to you and telling you side stuff. You would never get that in a movie. But with Borderlands, I feel like the message in that game is a little bit simpler than, you know, Mass Effect or The Last of Us and even Hitman. You know, Hitman has a very basic, it just can't, I don't know what it is with Hitman. They just can't get it right. Nobody cares. Like, nobody cares enough about Hitman to make it good. But I think the fan base is there. I think the love for it is there. The simplicity of the story, but with the options to make it more complex is there. I'm excited, and I'm excited to see how they film it. Is it gonna look like Mad Max, down and dirty, and you know, CG stuff that doesn't look CG? Is it gonna be all CG and like super crazy and flashing lights and everywhere? It's, you know, it's. I'm excited. I can't wait for that either.
I'm excited, and
it's
I
fun.
love the writing. From the get-go with the first game, I was so sucked in the first like 5 minutes. I was like, this is for me. This is my sense of humor. This is awesome. Now you're adding guns, and now you're adding add-ons to the guns, and there's all the colors and all. I mean, the characters are so vibrant, and you can't help but want to play each and every one. You can't just pick one and be like, this is who I'm going to play, Siren. You have to play them all, and it is just such an amazing story. And I'm on season 3 of Tales, and my kid has been sitting watching me play because she's so into the dialogue, which is amazing. Usually I have to fight her for the controller, and she's watching and allowing me to play through, even though Viva Pinata has hit the Xbox One.
Love Viva Pinata.
So I'm pretty excited, and we have deep ties over at Gearbox, so I'm hoping all is well for them. But again, they are so very committed to the fan base that I don't think they will allow something to be released that is not up to par. I really don't.
Especially after Aliens Colonial Marines.
Yeah.
There's some stuff behind that one that I know about. I'm not going to talk about, but there's some stuff with that. That's a fun time.
Get those hashtag hypes up in there. Let us know how you feel about the forthcoming movie.
We do have from Mr. J. We do have a question kind of going on about movie stuff. Is the Assassin's Creed movie is going to be coming out, and they did release a shot of what their main character is going to look like. He goes, does anyone think that the Assassin's Creed movie is going to be as glitchy as the game? And I thought that was hilarious because that game was so messed up. There was a commercial where they're like, we're trying to make this better. We want your honest opinion. And then someone was like, yeah, your last game sucked. This is what I hated about it, but this new one's great. So I'm like, all right, whatever. The movie, I think, is going to be really great because they are introducing a new assassin to it. So you're not going to have a story that you've been playing before. It's going to be part of the Assassin's Creed series, but it's not going to be, you know, the same assassin.
Dude, I see Aztec. I agree with you. They need to make some of those Viva Pinatas like the amiibos. You know.
I would buy those in a
heartbeat. I think.
You know what I would watch? I would watch over and over again any Witcher movie.
Yeah. Any. I don't know. That would be banned from my house because I have a junior achiever. That wouldn't be happening over here. So
yeah, I don't play The Witcher either.
I started it and I was like, meh.
Throw your hands up for the giveaway hype up in the channel, Lays. Giveaway hype for Geek Fuel. Sponsor Geek Fuel.
Yeah. Audience repping.
Tiff, tell us about the giveaway.
Our giveaway today. Yay! It's we're going to be giving away a Geek Fuel box. So Geek Fuel is an awesome little nerdy box that you get really sweet stuff in. They've sent us some really cool boxes. I didn't get mine yet, but somebody else here did. Maybe you can get one too. Who might have a box already?
Which one of us do you think it is? Can you guess? Which one of us do you think it is?
It's
It's Pixie.
Pixie.
Pixie got her box in.
Woo!
And because Pixie's such a great human being and loves you guys so much, guess what she's gonna do?
Oh, we're gonna unbox this biatch!
Tweet it out to your friends. You wanna win one? Hit the website. It's over there, giveaway. We're gonna be doing one each month, so stay
I totally
tuned.
don't have a knife.
You
so
guys
I'm
need to
gonna
promise
pray.
though, because we're all going to be making unboxing videos. You guys need to promise to still watch the videos, even though you're watching the unboxing live.
Aren't you excited, Danya?
Watching this on YouTube.
Unboxing.
Love unboxing things. I'm just like, what's up?
I have officially succeeded in taking off the tape because knives are hard.
Good start, Pixie. Good start.
I know, right?
I
Oh my
use
gosh,
so
I'm
many
so
razor
excited.
blades at work. I always have them in all my boxes. So whenever I
Alright,
need
so we're gonna start with small stuff, and then we're gonna move on to the big goods.
So excited.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Screaming.
The turtle head.
Oh my god, I'm not gonna want to eat it.
I'm never eating it.
Small stuff to big stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Post-apocalyptic currency magnet for the Nuclear Holocaust Fund with Nuka-Cola.
Ooh.
Does anybody here like dun, 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 Adventure Time?
Oh my
Is that one of those little mini like keychain ones?
Yes.
Oh yes.
This
I can't wait to get my
little
box.
My
Hey
better
guys,
come,
Pixie,
like,
I'm gonna stop you real quick. Guys, if you're going over to the website, you're gonna go on any other tab but the giveaway because that tab is not actually working. I'm sorry, I made that today. Go on the right side of any page, and there's a big honking image that says enter giveaway now. So enter the competition. They go Geek Fuel, enter that purple graphic.
Is that also below under the channel
It
too?
is under the channel as well.
Below the channel.
down
So if you
there.
don't want to go to the website,
Click
it's
the
right below.
graphic. Ian. Go ahead, Pix.
Game. It's Arth's Awakening. And
Nice.
I like the box.
there may or may not be flammable firework in this.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
this is the jam.
I can't wait.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna have
thought
to
it
hide this box from my kids.
I just looked at this and I thought it was a joke that it said flammable, and then when I started having like the sawdust fall out onto my hand, I was like, "Oh God, it's real!
It's
It's
gonna
real!
blow up like
It's
right now.
explode, it's a bomb!" But it's not
Ooh.
actually a bomb.
That's good. That's very good.
Thank goodness. Geek
Oh, look at that.
Ooh.
Magazine. Look who's on the cover. That's gonna be chock full of goodness.
Oh my God, my life is so much better. It's the world according to Wolverine.
Awesome.
Oh.
Oh my
Danya's
God.
over there.
Danya's having a heart attack up in there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
looks like okay.
How
guys,
long is it gonna take me to put a
Oh.
ring on it?
there's
Ian
different
said
ones.
he got the Spider-Man one. He didn't get the Wolverine.
Yeah.
Ah,
so-
correct! I got the better one. Spider-Man sucks. It's
No
Wolverine.
training.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man,
Is this August box or September?
this is August.
Then
Okay.
What's the T-shirt? What's the T-shirt?
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna pee.
It's Deadpool.
Deadpool for the win.
Okay,
Ian,
hashtag
did
best
you see
sponsor
Deadpool?
ever. Hashtag
Hashtag we love you, Geek Fuel.
Hashtag
Fuel.
Geek Fuel, you are our
Everybody
friend.
tweet Geek Fuel, hashtag some love, show them some love because you, my friends in the chat, can enter to win next month's box, September. And by the way, if you use the link to Geek Fuel right there, you get a bonus item just because you used our link. Because that's how we roll. we don't even get the bonus item. You get the bonus item.
How we
So,
do?
OMG. I want to open my box now, and I'm
That
supposed
was
to wait for the
freaking
kid.
beautiful.
Man.
I'm so excited.
Man, I hope mine comes in tomorrow.
Ours are probably sitting in the office, Tiff, right now.
They probably are. Ugh, 'cause I didn't check the mail today because I was like, I gotta get home and get
They're
on the
sitting at LORT headquarters waiting for you.
We have like new office people, so it's probably just like
So get off my box. Oh, that sounded bad. Never mind.
We're opening it right now as we speak.
All right, so that ends our unboxing for this evening. So you are jealous. You want to get your Wolverine book
Or Spider-Man.
or Spider-Man,
Or
or I don't
others.
even know what else could be in there.
Yeah.
But there is a guaranteed T-shirt in every box every month. All right.
So freaking
And-
dope. And you pick your size, so you don't have to worry about it just like having a
Yes.
small or
Thank
whatever.
goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank goodness. So we are rolling into the end of the program where we say our goodbyes and do our shout outs. And shout outs are exactly that. Danya, shout outs are anyone and everyone who's got you where you are today or has inspired you to do what you're doing, including your mom, your dog, you know, whatever. So with that being said, Danya, shout outs for you.
I guess probably all of the ladies behind Not Another Teen Wolf podcast, because they were the ones that got me into podcasting in the first place. So always grateful for the best friends that anyone could ever ask for. So.
Nice.
Aw.
All right, so let's go to Pixinator.
So shout out to Egg Fuel.
Yes.
You're awesome, and we love you. Shout out to Danya. Thank you so much for being here, especially with being across the pond in the future. Technically, you are in the future. Oh my god!
Oh man.
That's it.
I didn't do that on purpose, and then I realized I was actually right.
Amazing.
And then shout outs to my calculator for helping me through my pre-calculus homework.
I'm giving shout outs to your calculator too. No way, man. All right, Holly.
So I kind of have a chunk, but I'm going to talk as fast as I can possibly talk, which is fast because I talk really fast. So first off, shout out to my husband because he puts
Oh, look at you too.
and look at that picture. Aren't we awesome? Yes.
For the new mic.
Oh yeah, shout out to freaking Blue Microphones. Hello, hashtag sponsor. Pixie, it's okay. But honestly though, like I sound great tonight. Can we just say that together? Yes. Okay. I normally hate my voice, but tonight I'm happy with it because it's not crackly. Also, shout out to Danya. So fun having you here. I'm so inspired now even more to dive in just like full-fledged into the comic world. You're so well spoken and it's so obvious that you're so passionate about what you do. So thank you so much for being here. We're so stoked you're here. Also, shout out to GameStop, to Tiff and all my friends at GameStop. I get to meet everyone and come down there next week for the expo. I'm so honored and blessed and privileged and excited. And then the scariest ever, shout out to the esports conference. The following week, I'm going to be representing us ladies in San Francisco and speaking on 2 panels. One on diversity in gaming and the other one on nurturing talent from high school to the collegiate level. And I'm going to be sitting with people that I'm a nobody. So it's going to be very scary and I'm very excited and I swear that I will rep everyone here well and I will do my best to make you guys proud. And I'm super excited and I just feel so privileged and so thankful for where I'm at today. So shout out to Jesus is my homeboy. Shouting out to Jesus again. Rep it.
Shouting out to Jesus. All right, so Tiff.
Shout out to Holly and we'll see you next week, girl. Woo! I'm so Anyway, no, I'm really excited for Holly and stuff. Her stuff is going to be awesome. She got the esports thing going on. Danya, of course, again, thank you so much for staying up wicked late and waking up and talking to us. I do have one question. Do you guys call us across the pond too, or do we just say that to you guys?
Yes.
You do? Okay,
No, we
because
say that.
I didn't know if that was like went both ways, because I don't know. But thank you for clarifying that. I will be over there one day to come visit.
Me too.
One day. I wanted to my honeymoon to be Europe, but yeah, need some money for that. But shout outs this week are pretty simple. Shout outs to sleep, because sleep is amazing. And I haven't had much of it, but the little bit that I did have this week has been amazing. I got this new kitten named Koba Kitty. He's been on the show a couple times, just popping his head in. He's terrible. He is the worst cat that I've ever had, but he sleeps above my head at night, and he's super cute. But I need some sleep, because I'm going to be in Vegas, and the city doesn't sleep, and then I have a lot of things to do. So I'm going to miss you guys next week. I won't be on the show next week. I will still be coming back from Vegas. So shout out to you guys in the chat. Totally stoked that you guys are here, and with your fantastic questions. Of course, Utterly and Mr. J have been duking it out again this Friday, so thanks, guys, for tuning in. We totally appreciate whenever you guys are here, and I love seeing you guys ask questions for our guests, because it's super rad. So thank you, everyone, for being here, and thank you for everyone. Again, I need some sleep. I just messed that up really bad. I'm gonna go to sleep, maybe.
We're all screwing up our thingies. I mean, the best one, hands down, was Danya. It was so beautiful, so well said.
Yeah.
Like a fruit.
Hers was fantastic.
I forgot my best friend in the whole world. I forgot my dog. Like, what is life? What is life?
All right, my turn.
That's it all up. You save us. Save us.
Don't mess it up.
We can
Go that way.
duke it out over like the poopees right now, because I am dog sitting the most adorable golden retriever poupee in the history of the world.
Boston Terriers are the best breed. Okay, just gotta throw it out there.
All right, so just gonna say my shout outs for this evening. Number one, Geek Fuel. Great job. Loving the box. Unfortunately, I'm gonna be a bad parent and hoard it all for myself. Not sharing with the kid. She's gonna have to get her own. Although we do share t-shirts, I have to say, because she has to go to school and be like, yeah, look at how cool I am. You know, because every young teen girl needs to go to school and feel like they're rocking it out, right?
Yes.
So especially those who are programming and coding robots, they got to go to school and have a little leg up. I also want to say shout out to you, Danya, for booking with us. We know we've been chatting back and forth and trying to get this under wraps, and you have an open invitation to come back anytime and have a great conversation and dialogue. We hope you had a good time and enjoyed it.
I did very much. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And shout outs to you in chat who've come back, all your faces that we see every week, and have shared our podcast with your friends, family, and fellow geeks. Without you, we'd be sitting here talking to ourselves. And as much as I love you ladies, it's not as awesome when the chat is deep into the conversation. So with that being said, if you have not clicked the graphic below for Geek Fuel, you can enter to win the September giveaway. We will have other giveaways on that broken link over to the giveaway page on the website. Promise you, I'm working on it. Mind you, I do not sleep. However, I have to go to work. So I'll fix it, I promise. Website designer, learning curve. Whoo, crash. So
when do
Ian,
people find out about the giveaway?
When do people find out about the giveaway? The actual winner of the giveaway?
Yes, people are probably going to want to know.
People are probably going to want to know as soon as I find out. That's when they'll know. Boxes go out mid-month. We'll know that week, middle of the month. So believe me, you will be notified if you are the winner. And then we're blasting it all over. So you better hope you got your business P's and Q's done, because I'm putting your name on blast, right? Winner, winner, winner.
Chicken dinner.
Chicken dinner. Right. Thank you so much to our current sponsors for supporting us in what we're doing. And we are excited to continue this journey with you guys. We love you. Keep up the great work. And it is now time to That looks so. Never mind. Dance it out. So Ian's gonna roll those credits, and remember, ladies, we got about a minute or so that we're on mic. So when we roll it out, all that giggling, right on the foot.
It's always like giggle
It's
fest.
always giggle fest. Yeah. So all right, everybody, dance it out.
Hey,
Boogie down. All
I
right.
should have let the parade come and be
I got glow
Yeah,
sticks.
Tanya. with
Dance
the
it out,
shit.
chat. Oh, Danya's got moves.
Move across the pond. Move across the pond. Danya, move across the pond.
Uh-oh. Now Holly's rapping. Casey, you got better moves than that. I've seen those moves. I'm a bouncy.
My brain is fried. Like, you want to know who can't do math?
That is hard.
Like an hour and a half.